Although President Museveni participated in a walk in 2019 organized by the government's anti-corruption agencies to signal zero tolerance for corruption, it was as if the worst was yet to come. The anti-corruption crusaders accused the president of emboldening the corrupt first by what they say are protectionist measures against the offenders.
The face of corruption, Your Excellency, and our honored guests, is that lifestyle which is not commensurate with a person's legitimate source of income. That expensive car, that mansion.
The lifestyle audit is good, but be careful, because we are still lucky that our corrupt people are corrupt here. They steal the money, they put it there. You see a five-star hotel from corruption. Now, if you only concentrate on the lifestyle, then they will take the money out.
But even without a lifestyle audits, they all steal and take the money out of here. Yeah, because they know that, what else can they buy here now? They have already bought enough land and whatever. And for them, they're not stealing for development. They're not stealing to start a factory, which will employ people. That's what shocks me about people who even want to justify corruption. In this country, people don't steal to start something that can benefit even 5 people.
There is a cross-cutting argument shared by the anti-corruption crusaders that the recent high-profile arrests are a roadside show to raise excitement. They argue that the history of corruption fights is elaborative of a similar pattern about how the cases will die.
For them, it's a tactic of arrest and release. Arrest and hoodwink people that you are serious and release them. And it won't be the first time.
You never see these cases coming to light. And that you can trace back, by the way, whether it is the late 80s, early 90s, with the corruption that we had in the early 90s of the valley dams, of the junk helicopters, of the ghost soldiers, ghost pupils, and things like that. There was, by and large, very, very limited political accountability, holding the politicians very involved accountable.
They state that had the government been serious about grabbing the bull by the horns to stamp out corruption, several politicians would have been forced to resign to face prosecution for stealing relief items that included iron sheets from the poor in Karamoja. Currently, the 2 former ministers responsible for Karamoja affairs, Mary Goreti Kitutu and Agnes Nandutu, and the State Minister for Planning in the Finance Ministry, Amos Lugolobi, are facing prosecution for the diversion of the iron sheets. Additionally, they say the uproar about the alleged diversion of funds at Parliament should have resulted in investigations with the view of prosecution, but there was none of it.
Cases are being mishandled. You have a straight case like the Mabate saga, very straight case, but it has never been resolved. And I can tell you it won't be resolved until elections are over. So mismanagement of corruption cases has led to people to lose trust in the government that is serious.
A section holds that the half-baked cases that end up with no convictions in court are a deliberate tool used for a witch hunt against opponents.
I'm beginning to have a problem with arresting people we suspect. And then we later fail even to induce evidence in court. If that is not harassment, I don't know what it is, because the reputational damage of a person you have arrested for corruption, and you are inability to produce evidence, and this person goes away scot-free. This person's reputation has been damaged beyond repair. Why is it that they rush to arrest people, but they don't rush to first collect evidence and carry out better investigations?
Those that steal because they are President Museveni's people, he uses it as patronage. Yeah, so he has you on his leash. He knows you stole. He even threatens you with that arrest, and because the people you were talking about that were arrested, are they still in jail? No, they are not.
The investigative agencies have quite often decried the inadequate training skills and tools that match the level of sophistication used to commit financial crimes. However, the anti-corruption crusaders contend that the claim of sophistication is not a problem at all, if not the lack of government will.
What sophistication? Us who don't have a single budget, we have put out things that anyone can even use to prosecute. Because if we put documents there that show that the Speaker of Parliament is receiving money through their subordinates, all you need is to call people in whose names those accounts are to question them about this money. Where has it gone? What has it done? Conduct value for money. If someone says this money constructed a road, is the road there? Is the road worth that money? What sophistication is there?
You have a project, it's supposed to end in 3 years, 7 years down the road, the project has accumulated costs. I'm talking about the Busega Mpigi Expressway. A project supposed to have ended in 3 years at 500 billion. It is 1.3 trillion. All that money has been utilized. It is 7 years down the road. It's at 40% completion. If that is not corruption, what else would you call that?
There is a feeling that the multiplicity of the anti-corruption agencies is a weakness instead of a strength.
When you have a duplicity of institutions, it means also the resources are scattered. And perhaps you'll find that there are even agencies that are basically, they are operating, yes, they are open, but the resources they have are just barely enough to keep operations running in terms of administration costs, in terms of salaries, but very little money when it comes to actual doing anti-corruption work.
It is admitted that corruption is now a deep-rooted culture, and given a chance, many would either give or take, raising questions as to why billions of resources and efforts should continue to be channeled toward its elimination.
Because just imagine if we didn't have institutions, or if we didn't have people fighting corruption, if we didn't have all these laws, what would be the state? I think we would be extremely bad off. I think we need to recognize some of the efforts that have been made, by the way, in terms of these institutions and the work they are doing.
It can make these politicians go slow, because now they know the Ugandans are watching, they know what's happening, but also that they will not keep quiet. If the authorities won't prosecute you, the Ugandans will prosecute you, and they have. You sit here and they say you stole money, you stole money. I am sure no politician, no person wants to go through that.
For the leadership to reclaim that trust, then they fundamentally need to change the way they do service delivery. If I go to police and I report a case, let my case be heard. Then I know, yes, police is working. If I go to a health center and I get the medicine without paying a price, then I know the medicine is working. But if service delivery continues to go down the drain, then why do we need a government?
Based on past and present experiences, commitments to corruption fight by the NRM government for the very best are deemed sloganeering without action, a fashion that the party is expected to stick to in the next general elections. Jackson Onyango, NTV.